A pleasure to meet all at last, and welcome back to films I should have talked about years ago. Because now is where I get to yet another pick from 2020 that I would not ultimately recommend to most viewers out there. But in case you are a fan of at least a couple things out there, The Pathway to Redemption, basketball, and construction, then well, this is probably the pick for you. I am of course talking about The Way Back, a sport drama released in March 2020, just before the pandemic came around and took everything away from us. So of course, this right here is probably one of those rare moments where I might as well talk about something that actually flopped in the box office. Yeah, this one was very low in terms of its budget at nearly $25 million, but yet it only grossed at around $17 million. But for the most part, I will say for sure that other than having a really low box office in terms of its worldwide viewership, it did not necessarily hold up in most other ways possible. This film stars the one and only Ben Affleck, who had pretty much been fresh out of the DCEU after apparently resigning after all the Batman stuff pretty much came and went around that whole entire time, which would explain the reason why we're actually going to be having Robert Pattinson as Batman next year. But until then, let's just say for sure that Ben Affleck, being a former Batman in any ways, this particular film does show us something rather different. Jack Cunningham was in fact a superstar at basketball back at the same old high school where apparently a new group of kids are at, and they were in need of a new coach. Cunningham is by no means one of those typical sorts of people who has so many problems and lots of things to struggle with, including alcoholism and a bad marriage. And the way I see it, when things are really coming together, this almost seems very familiar. You know, you got someone who's a total butthole, who's actually going in to try a shot at redemption by coaching a basketball team. That seems very familiar. Bum bum biddy biddy bum bum. Bum bum biddy biddy bum. Yeah, okay, I see what's happening here. This is very, very similar to that of 8 Crazy Nights. Yeah, it's almost the same film. Except this one is certainly not around Hanukkah, and this one is certainly not about, well, some young, eccentric person like Whitey Duvall. Wow. I really cannot trust my own eyes and ears that somehow I'm able to sort of reminisce the fact that The Way Back is actually very much like 8 Crazy Nights, because once again, it almost is the same exact thing. You have someone who has a lot of struggles with life and who goes out of control and has a shot at redemption by coaching a basketball team. I mean, that's sort of what happens between both of these films. Otherwise, I don't really know what else to say about this one entirely, because having a box office of only $14.7 million in America while having a few extra million across worldwide policies, I mean, that's just, I don't know what else to say about that one. This one is certainly one of those that had flopped in the box office for a reason. Because again, 8 Crazy Nights and The Way Back, I see an almost solid connection here. The only real difference is that there's no Whitey Duvall in this one. Yet there are a few people who are, in fact, onto Cunningham's crazy ways, including alcoholism and all that good stuff. So eventually Cunningham gets fired from this. And, well, you know what? I guess that's pretty much just what I have to say about that good thing itself, because we don't necessarily get a whole lot after that, other than Cunningham pretty much getting in trouble with the law. So, again, I don't really see a whole lot of redemption happening there. And when it gets to that, then this film is just screwed. When you don't have yourself a good ending, that's just pretty much what that's about, pretty much. I'm not necessarily a fan of basketball, nor am I really a fan of Ben Affleck in general. I mean, there's been tons of things revolving around Affleck's career and how bad things have been pretty much getting. I'm more than willing to let go of a lot of things, but I can't really say in this case, I'm willing to try. So when it comes to giving a score to this film, this one probably won't really have as good of a score as you might expect from someone like me, who does seek out this stuff on a regular basis and does try to give the best that could possibly be done. So, 5.6 out of 10. Yeah. So, I wouldn't really say that it's average even. It's almost enough to be a boring experience by any means, and it probably doesn't really have everything you might want to expect for it to be entertaining by any means. Even just for a one-time view, then it's probably not necessarily as good of an experience as you would hope for. So 5.6 for the way back. End of story. But on the bright side, we are going to be having ourselves some other things to talk about. I will have plenty of other titles to go through, and therefore lots of incredible opportunities to come by. So if you want to see more go down to my channel, then make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.